Good afternoon from the Monsanto Water Utilization Learning Center. My name is Brian Olson, manager of the site. I'm here with Mark Ryman, Learning Center agronomist. And today we're talking about planting conditions. And so, as everybody's familiar with, last week we got pretty warm out there. And so our soil temperatures did get up into that mid-60s. And then we've kind of dropped off a little bit here down into the mid-50s. And so we did receive some moisture, and now farmers are across a wide swath of Nebraska, and so now folks are ready to get back in the field, and we want to make sure we don't get out there too soon. So Mark is actually going to show us here what some soil conditions look like in some parts of the field. If we get out a little too early, what could potentially we be seeing.
So what we're looking at here is an area of the farm that we've got a little bit of heavier clay. It seems to hold the water a little more, and it's a little bit stickier. So I brought the planter out here just for a pass to, take a look as we're kind of looking around the farm for better places to plant. And what I found was, you can see maybe it looks like it kind of closed, but when you get down in there and you reel that kind of go in there, that seed trench is really not closing. It's just making kind of a little cave almost underground. As you can see my seed right down there at the bottom. And then if you were to bring up kind of this sidewall, you can see that sidewall compaction that's really going to give you those hatchet roots and affect that rooting and the plant health for the rest of the year. What you can have happen is you can get really lucky. It can rain after you do something like this, and it works out moderately okay. You get the corn to come up, but if it turns off hot and dry, you're going to end up with erratic stands, and it's going to be a really poor situation to start with.
Yeah, and so if that seed slot does get closed immediately, back to what you're saying, if you don't get a rain on it and it does bake, then you've got that seed exposed. You potentially get some herbicides that go down there, any fertilizer that you put on the surface, so you are leaving that seed exposed to where you could potentially have a lot of problems with it.
And this is also, you got no-till, the good residue cover we want for moisture conservation, but it can make it a little more difficult to get back into the field under all this wheat residue.
So did you want to take us to another part of the field and show us a little bit better planting conditions?
Yeah, we'll head to an area that's a little siltier that we've actually tilled the ground and show you what it looks like there.
Alrighty. So here we are in another part of the Learning Center, and we've got a little bit better planting conditions.
Yeah, so this is a Kozad silt loam. It's got a little higher silt content than the lower part of the farm we were on. And I planted this, we got the same rain and everything last week, and it really looks ready to go. If you dig down in there, it's nice. You don't have any of that sidewall compaction. Obviously it's not as easy to find the seed in this because you don't have the trench open there to look at, but you can find them there. We're getting nice seed depth, seed to soil contact, and everything looks like this will be really an ideal situation for that seed to start growing and emerge.
Okay, well with that we will head back up to the shop and kind of go through the planter on some things that we could possibly adjust on that planter if we are going to go into a piece of ground that is less than ideal. So here we are back up at the shop, and Mark, you wanted to go over some potential things farmers can do to adjust their planter in case they're going into less than ideal conditions.
Yeah, it's just a few things we think about before we go back into the field. Last week we had really dry soil conditions that are different to plant into than our moist soil conditions now. So one of the first things I do is lighten the downforce a little bit, so you're lessening the pressure and what these gauge wheels are carrying. With the softer soil, you don't need that extra force to get your seeding depth, and that prevents a little bit of sidewall compaction because you don't have these gauge wheels carrying as much weight. The other thing is, your trash whippers, you were maybe digging with them last week to really get down there and get to moisture for your seeds. This week you can raise those up. You don't want to move a lot of soil and get down into that mud that can build up on your gauge wheels and cause some seed depth issues. And then finally, if we move to the closing wheels, and this will be something you'll have to look at, you want to make sure you're closing the seed trench, but I lightened these up a notch just so we're not kind of pinching that soft soil quite as much. between the closing wheels as we go through the field. So those are just a few of the adjustments that we look at. Of course, you make an adjustment, you check to see that it was a good adjustment, and tweak some things as you need for your field conditions. But those are just a few things I think about going from the tough conditions last week to the softer, moist soil conditions this week.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Mark. And again, we wish everybody a good planting season, and we'll talk to you next time from the Learning Center in Gothenburg, Nebraska. Thank you.
This video was produced by the Monsanto Water Utilization Learning Center.